What is up, Pokemon Go family? It is your boy, TheGoulGuy, back at you guys yet again with another video. And today we have a special request from one of my subscribers, and also something I actually wanted to do anyway. We're going to be using Blacephalon, our Shundo Blacephalon, in the Master League using the new, basically the new legacy move, Mind Blown. I know people have been requesting this for a while, and I've been waiting to actually do this for a while because I've been trying to figure out a team that actually works with Blacephalon, because the thing is, Blacephalon is so freaking fragile. Even to non-effective moves, it's so freaking fragile. It takes so much of Blacephalon's health. It's crazy. But I think I found the right team for it. Basically, we have a team of Xerneas, we have a team of Kyurem Black, and we have a team of Blacephalon. Now, basically, we're going to show you basically the team real quick and the movesets before we actually get into, obviously, the matches real quick. And then I'll tell you why we ended up going this route, right? So basically, with Xerneas, essentially is just really good. It's a really good fairy type. Essentially, what was that? Geomancy. Geomancy got a boost actually lately, to where it actually does a little bit more damage, which is very nice. Also has close combat, which is really good against those steel type Pokemon, which is really great. On top of rock type Pokemon like a Rhyperior or anything like that, also really good, and works very good neutrally against, you know, obviously any of the dragon types. If I didn't want to go obviously towards, you know, Moonblast, because you get to close combat before you get to Moonblast. But anyway, overall, amazing Pokemon. And this is a 98 that I have here. It works amazing. Next Pokemon on the list, we have Kyurem Black. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't I just go with Kyurem White? Well, Kyurem Black, the reason for that, once I actually pop it up here, boom. Yeah, there we go. Kyurem Black, this is our Shundo Kyurem Black, by the way. So 2 Shundos we're going to be using in this video. Basically, we're going to be using Shadow Claw. We're going to use Free Shotgun as well as Fusion Bolt. Now, the reason for this Pokemon that we're going to be using particularly is for all the water type Pokemon. So whether that be the Palkia, basically because I can use Fusion Bolt on Palkia, does neutral, very good neutral damage on Palkia. On top of, you got a lot of Primarinas in the Master League, which essentially is going to destroy Blacephalon. Well, unless it has Charm, which a lot of Primarinas are really running Charm, so that's a thing. But essentially, with the Fusion Bolt, does really good against the Primarinas on top of the Flyers. So you got the Yveltal, and as well, you also have the oh shoot, my bad, I just ate. But anyway, you have Yveltal, and as well, you got Ho-Oh. So really good against those two, and even Kyogre. If you ever see a Kyogre, essentially, basically Kyurem Black is just a really good meta breakers, really good Pokemon to actually put in the mix and do a good amount of damage. So that is why we are using the Kyurem Black on top of Shadow Claw. Some people are using Dragon Tail. I like using Shadow Claw because sometimes I am going up against other fairy types. So it's really good to have that. On top of Shadow Claw is really good against those psychic types and those other ghost types that would also be very bad for Blacephalon. So basically, yeah, it's just perfect for what we are trying to do today. And then last but not least, we have our Blacephalon, which is our Shundo Blacephalon. Freaking amazing. Love that I have this Pokemon. But anyway, we have Incinerate, we have Shadow Ball, and we have Mind Blown. We already know Mind Blown is freaking ridiculous. This is a ridiculous fire type move. That's why it's basically one of the best fire type Pokemon in the game, in terms of a raid attacker. And then on top of, we have Shadow Ball, which also got a boost this season as well, and quicker to get to. So it's amazing to actually have that as well. But yeah, that's the team. That's what we're working with. Let's get into the matches. Let's go. All right, here we go. We are getting back into it. Let's go. And also, too, just a disclaimer, first match is basically going to be a very good example of why I don't do that many PvP videos on this channel, and you're gonna see. But anyway, we have a really good lead here. We got Xerneas versus the Palkia. I don't know, I probably just butchered that name. Xerneas, I didn't say it right. But anyway, they switch into the Giratina. I basically have a energy lead. We're gonna hit him with a Moonblast, most likely anticipating a shield. Let's see what ends up happening here. Do they shield? Yes, they do. They do end up shielding, and we switch right into the Kieran Black. This is perfect. This is the perfect scenario for the Kieran Black. We have Shadow Claw. This is doing good damage. Also, we have shield advantage, so we are going to be shielding up any kind of dragon type move or Shadow Ball that they end up throwing at us, which is nice. And we are going to be able to potentially get to this free shock. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get to the free shock. We're going to not shield this. It's probably going to be a Shadow Ball. We can take it. That's fine. Shadow Ball comes through. Boom. We take it. That's fine with me. Free shock coming through. Let's see if that free shock hits, or does it get another shield? Let's see what happens here. Boom, takes out the Giratina. That's what I'm talking about. And then they bring in the Palkia. Now, this is also a good reason why I have the Kieran Black here, because we can get to the basically the Fusion Bolt before they get to their Spatial Rin, which is very nice, unless they already had it and they're just like overcharging. I'm not too sure. But as you can see, doing really good neutral damage, and I think that was probably a CMP tie right there. So they do get to their charge move, and I believe it is a Aqua Tail. So they probably did overfarm here. So they probably still have energy, but we bring in the Xerneas. They can't really do much to that. And we bring in our Blacephalon. Blacephalon basically is going to be able to take this one home. All I got to do is shield a charge move, because even though both charge moves from Zacian aren't really gonna, like, I mean, they're non-effective to Blacephalon, either one of those moves are going to destroy Blacephalon regardless. And this is why the Go Battle League is so bad right now. Just look at this. It froze in the middle of this match. And I can't, I'm telling you, when I recorded this, I was so freaking mad. I was so freaking mad. I'm like, bro, we finally got like a really genuinely good match. We're playing off of each other. I got really good leads, like phenomenal, right? And this happens. And this happens, bro. Yeah, so I stay there for like a good minute until like, yeah, I'm thinking maybe things will change and I'll get back to the game. No, it doesn't. And basically I ended up quitting the game, like obviously just shutting the whole game down, had the relog back in, and yeah, basically let's just move on to the next match, bro. But yeah, like that was just very disappointing. I hope like at some point the Go Battle League gets some kind of revamp, re-update, something of the sort, but as of right now, it is not the case, and this is what we had to deal with. Like random freezing in the game. So annoying. But anyway, we have Xerneas versus Kyurem. I'm gonna get it right one of these days. But anyway, we got Xerneas versus Kyurem White here. Now, Kyurem White can use basically can use either one of his charge moves. Is going to do a good amount of damage to the Xerneas here. What I usually do is not shield. I usually at least tank one, which is going to be the Fusion Flare. Fusion Flare at least takes me to half. The Ice Burn will take me to red, like very low red. So luckily it was just that, and we are going to be able to get to the Moonblast. We do get a shield, which is very nice here. They end up switching into the Zacian, which is perfect because we're going to be able to switch right into our Blacephalon. Basically, you want to make sure the Blacephalon is basically where it needs to be, okay? You definitely want to make sure it's where it needs to be. Let's see if we get this last shield or not. If they do shield, yep, they do end up shielding, which is nice. But as you can see, even the Metal Claws with being debuffed is doing a whole bunch of damage. We're going to definitely be shielding whatever this charge move is, which is going to be the close combat, which is fine with me. We're going to be able to basically farm it down even faster, but unfortunately they do get to another charge move, but that's fine. We want most of our shields, if not one, two, we want both of our shields for the Blacephalon. That is fine. Close combat definitely would have took me out, especially with the debuff. That definitely would have took me out. They end up switching right into a Dialga. We're gonna be throwing a Shadow Ball here. I should have threw a Mind Blown because I believe Mind Blown definitely would have done a lot more damage, but that's fine. That's fine. We got the Xerneas and we have. I'm thinking between the two, which one should I do? Because we don't have any shields on our Pokemon, and like we don't have any shields in general. They switch right into the Kyurem before. Let's see, do they take it? They do end up taking it, and we switch right into the Xerneas. Unfortunately, we have no shields. If we had one more shield, we would have at least been able to farm down the Kyurem, potentially farm down the Kyurem, and get to a close combat for that Dialga. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So basically, we're going to have to rely on our Kyurem Black against this Kyurem White. Are we going to be able to do it? Oh, that is unfortunate. We were not able to actually get to our charge, well, farm it down to get to our charge move for the Dialga, unfortunately, and Fusion Flare is going to KO us, and we lose that game. But as you can see, that was so freaking close. If we were able to maybe maintain at least one shield, potentially this game would have went totally different. And then obviously the first game froze, which was just very unfortunate in itself. But anyway, let's move on. All right, now we have a bad lead. We have Xerneas versus the Ho-Oh. Now I have no play into this whatsoever. I at least get one, I get some energy before I end up leaving there. Switching into the Blacephalon instantly because my instant answer to Ho-Oh is going to be the Kyurem Black. You don't want to switch directly into your instant answer all the time because that is going to obviously mess up everything that you have to go on. But anyway, they switch into the Palkia. I'm going to try to get to the Shadow Ball before they end up farming me down. We do get to the Shadow Ball, which is very nice. But yeah, you don't want to switch into your instant answer because if they switch out, you want to be able to counter them eventually later down the line. That is the reason. But anyway, we do a good amount of damage to the Palkia before we end up going down, which is very nice. This might be a Shundo too, by the way. Shundo Palkia, look at you with the flex. But anyway, let's farm down this Palkia. Oh no, we were trying to farm down the Palkia, but unfortunately they do get to 2 Aqua Tails, which is very unfortunate. But we are going to be able to tank it and have at least a good amount of energy and still a shield advantage, which is very nice. They end up switching back into their Ho-Oh. We're going to be throwing a Moonblast, which hopefully gets us a debuff and as well put some damage onto this Ho-Oh. They end up shielding, which it didn't show the shield, but they did end up shielding there. We're going to shield back, of course. It's going to be the Sacred Fire. And we're going to bring in our Kyurem Black. Now, they can switch out. I don't know what they have in the back right now. They have the, okay, they have their own Xerneas in the back. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to use Freeze Shock because this should do way more damage than the Fusion Bolt, which takes us to the red. And maybe, just maybe, can we farm down? No, we can't farm down, but we still have at least one more shield. And I believe they are shieldless at this point. Yep, close combat, not going to do it. There we go. We farm down and we're almost to the Fusion Bolt. Oh, we're almost to the Fusion Bolt. Now, they do have a charge move here. Now, if this is Sacred Fire, I believe I might die here. It's not the Sacred Fire. It's the freaking Brave Bird. That's crazy. But can we get to the Moonblast before they get to another charge move? I think they're just trying to farm us down. I think they got too greedy because I feel like they definitely could have got to another Brave Bird potentially. I feel like they could have. But then we do get to the Moonblast. Does it KO? It does. Yes, it does KO because the Ho-Oh is a shadow and it's debuffed with the Brave Bird. Perfect gameplay. That is freaking insane. But I believe they might have overfarmed there potentially. But they did use a Sacred Fire before they switched out. So they used a Sacred Fire before they switched out and then got to the Brave Bird. So they might have been energy depleted. But that was just crazy. That was crazy. I was really thinking I was going to lose that one. But Xerneas came through on this one. One thing about this gameplay, you will definitely see that each one of these Pokemon on this team, you will see shine towards the end of the game. That was Xerneas's shine. But anyway, we got Xerneas versus the Palkia here. Basically gonna charge up here, see if I can get to the Moonblast. Definitely don't want to throw the close combat right away because if they start spamming us with the Aqua Tails, it's going to build up and it's going to do a lot of damage to the Xerneas. So we definitely don't want to do that. Aqua Tail coming through as predicted. And I build up just a little bit more energy here. Getting to the Moonblast. Getting to the Moonblast. Let's see, does this connect? It is not. That's fine. And let's see if we can get to another Moonblast. Or I might actually hit him with the close combat and maybe switch out potentially. That's a play. Aqua Tail, another Aqua Tail coming through. No point of shielding just yet. I think, yeah, that's what I thought. I go for the close combat here. Ooh. I go for the close combat here. Let's see if it connects or does he shield again. He does shield again. And we're just going to keep our Xerneas healthy for right now. We're just going to see what ends up happening here. We have 2 shields where they literally have no shield. So this could be a play. This could be literally like we won instantly just based off the fact that they have no shields, depending on what they have in the back. They bring out a Zacian. Not really the best situation against this Kyurem here because, of course, Steel does really good against Ice. But that's fine. We're going to be hitting him with the Fusion Bolt. That should do a decent amount of damage. And as well, of course, we do have a shield left. But at this point, we might as well leave our shields for the Blacephalon. This is the goal here. So basically, just going to get hit with, okay, we're going to get hit with the Behemoth Blade. That's fine. Switch into the Blacephalon. Basically, it's the Blacephalon and a very smidgen of health on the Xerneas left that we have here. We're going to be hitting the Shadow Ball on a freaking Necrozma, bro. This is going to be freaking insane. Does this one-hit KO, bro? This is the king of ghosts, bro. Can we one-hit KO the freaking Necrozma and we just basically take out the Zacian with the Incinerate, bro? Blacephalon is so fun. Such a fun Pokemon. Ridiculous in terms of damage that it's able to output. But as I said, very squishy. But if you can use it, it's amazing, okay? It's very amazing, okay? But yeah, that was just amazing. But yeah, as you can see, Xerneas, Blacephalon doing its thing. Now, Kyurem Black, it's your time to shine. Let's see what he ends up doing at the very end of this match. If he ends up doing anything, if I even win, let's see what happens. But anyway, we have Xerneas versus the Palkia here. A lot of Palkia leads here, which is fine with me, especially with Xerneas in the front. That's fine. Same thing. They're going to probably hit us, spam us with the Aqua Tails here. I don't know if they just don't have any play in the back or they just don't want to switch instantly into their Zacian, knowing that we probably have a fire type in the back. Anyway, going to be throwing the Moonblast. Do they end up taking it or not? Do they take it? They do not, which is pretty predictable for the most part. Same thing what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get to that close combat and throw that, maybe even switch out. They end up switching into the Zacian. There it is. Now, what I end up doing here, I end up staying in and throwing the close combat, just basically taking the health down as low as I can. So I potentially don't have to use a shield from the Blacephalon, potentially. But they do get to their charge moves pretty quick there with the Metal Claw, which is very unfortunate. So we are going to have to use at least one shield for this Zacian, but we are going to get a whole bunch of energy, which is nice. And Behemoth Blade, as I said, is not effective, but believe me, it will take majority of my health away because of the attack stat on freaking Zacian. It's crazy. But anyway, we got the Shadow Ball going on to the Palkia, which is nice, getting their last shield. And at this point, might as well just let the Blacephalon go. The Blacephalon did what it needed to do. It took out the Zacian and as well basically got the last shield, which is nice. Bring in the Xerneas. They, as I said, they don't have a shield. Might as well use the shield on the Xerneas because, I mean, essentially this is a fairy. So, I mean, potentially could be useful towards the very end of this. Let's see what happens. All right, we get to the Moonblast. Nice, and we are going to be able to take that out. I don't want to use the close combat just yet, just depending on whatever they have in the back. Don't want it to do crazy damage on us. And then, yep, they have a Kyurem Black. Okay, so we basically have Kyurem Black versus Kyurem White, bro. This is insane. This is like basically what the Master League is made for. These legendary Pokemon going head to head. Let's see what ends up happening here. They end up hitting us with the Fusion Flare. Fusion Flare is super effective, and then we end up using a free shock. Now, essentially, it is neutral since this is a ice type Pokemon, but also it's a dragon and it takes majority of its health, and we Shadow Claw the rest of the Kyurem White down, bro. Whoever says Kyurem Black is not as good as Kyurem White, I don't care what you have to say, bro. Kyurem Black is freaking amazing. But anyway, that was a 3 out of 5. Well, we won 3 out of 5 games out of that. Obviously, the first one was glitched because it froze on us. And then the second match, obviously, could have been played a little better. But other than that, bro, that was an amazing game with freaking Blacephalon. But yeah, the team is amazing. But I will say one thing. This is a difficult Pokemon to use in the Master League. If you do end up planning to use Blacephalon in the Master League, I definitely highly recommend you use Ho-Oh instead. I actually switched out Blacephalon for Ho-Oh once I actually used this, you know, once I actually like used Blacephalon in this video. I actually switched it out for Ho-Oh, and believe me, way more games just destroying people. It was crazy. But Ho-Oh obviously is way better because it's able to take more damage. It's a flying Pokemon, so it's able to, you know, obviously avoid any ground type moves, stuff like that. It's just perfect. It's a way better move. And on top of that, Brave Bird is pretty much a nuke that's like neutral amongst like most to every Pokemon in the Master League. But anyway, that is it. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely leave me a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps the channel grow. If you guys do want more PvP videos, definitely let me know. As I said, I just get frustrated when it glitches out and everything like that. Now, of course, there's no Elo this time around, so like I'm not really as mad, but when Elo does come back, I do get really frustrated when things don't really go my way. Especially when things are just out of my control. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you feel about Blacephalon in the Master League. But I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.